1 minute. 20 seconds. 19, 18.
Nice music. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Thank you for joining us in this spirit of perfect harmony. We want to thank our music department, Cynthia Hart, and Connie Marshall, for providing our excellent music today. We are the Center for Spiritual Living West Georgia. We study and practice the philosophy and science of the mind we know as God. And with our spiritual presence and participation in our service here this morning, all magnificent 7 that are present and the 101 online, we study and practice the philosophy and science of the mind we know as God, and we create a higher state of consciousness, rise above all the negative energy that may have prevailed throughout the past week, and manifest love. Without further ado, I would like to pass it on to the excellent to outstanding master teacher, Reverend Sandra Jackson.
Good morning. Oops. Do I turn these on? I turned it off. I turned it off earlier. Okay. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Welcome, welcome, welcome. So good to see everybody. It's a new month. It is a new month.
Yes,
How about
it
that?
is.
We're 1 week into it. Last Sunday was the last Sunday of July, and now this is the first Sunday of August.
21 goes to 5. The big one should go for 50. If they're new, they go for 15. Okay? But this is
And Gloria, I think you want to go on mute. Oh, it sounded like Gloria. Well, Zizi, you want to go on mute. Somebody wants to go on mute.
Somebody.
Anyway, somebody wants to go on mute.
Not you.
Anyway,
Not you.
me.
No.
But, that's the age of technology, right? We're going to talk a little bit about that today. So let us begin, as we always do, by creating in our own minds, individually and collectively, that sacred space, that place where we know within our hearts, within our minds, within our very being, that all there is God, and that each and every one of us is a divine expression, a wonderful expression of divine love. And because God is love and we are one with it, then we too are love. And so this day we are open-hearted as we let that love flow in us and through us and as us. We open our hearts and minds to those who we know and those who we do not know, knowing that we are all instruments, expressions, and the life-giving force of God in the world. And so each and every one is love, and each and every one is deserving of love. So we are open today to experience, to express, and to live the teachings that say that we are one. We are one with God, we are one with Spirit, we are one with one another. And so in gratitude, we begin today, knowing that this truth guides, directs, and leads us through this moment, through this service, through this day, through this month, through this year, through this life. And so it is.
And so it is.
Oh, how about that? I'm just going to go sit down. Go ahead. Do your thing.
No.
Okay, we'll do the opening invocation. I mean, we've done, let's do the vision and mission statement. If you would like to stand, please. CSL West Georgia is a joyful global community where everyone belongs. Through our unique spiritual teachings, we provide a safe environment to experience compassionate living. Our declaration of principles for this month: I believe in God, the living Spirit Almighty, one, indestructible, absolute, and self-existent cause. This one manifests itself in and through all creation, but is not absorbed by its creation. I believe in the incarnation of the Spirit in all, and that we are all incarnations of the one Spirit. You guys are not saying the same thing I am, huh? No. You know why? Because this is July. This is August. So we'll read that last sentence over.
Okay.
Because that's really important for this week. I changed it intentionally, okay? The manifest universe is the body of God. It is the logical and necessary outcome of the infinite self-knowingness of God. Yes. And so therefore, nature is a part of God as well. So now that we're all on the same page. Ta-da!
Ta-da! So we have a congregational this morning. If you please remain standing. It's by Ricky Byers. It's called Our Loving Will Change the World. Love, 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 everybody. Love, love, love. When it's hard to love, love, our loving will change the world again. Love, 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 everybody. Love, love, love. When it's hard to love, love, our loving will change the world. Let's try share. Share, share, share who you are, and share, share, share when it's hard to share, share. Our sharing will change the world. Let's try sing. Sing, sing, sing all together. Sing, sing, sing when it's hard to sing. Sing, our singing will change the world. Let's try care. Care, care, care for each other. Care, care, care for the ones in need. Care, our caring will change the world. Find me here, singing with you, heart wide open for what we came to do. Wind in the trees sings a melody true. Love everybody, let the love shine through. Everybody sing love, love, love. Everybody love, love, love. When it's hard to love, love, our loving will change the world. Our loving will change the world. Our sharing will change the world. Our singing will change the world. Our caring will change the world. Our loving will change. Let's tag it right here. The world. Reverend Sandra picked that song. It's a great song. Hey, and it wasn't very easy either. Ricky Byers is always a challenge, in case you don't know that.
We knew you could do it.
Where are you going, Connie?
But we have Cynthia
Connie.
who knows how to do it all.
I struggled a little bit, but I got it. Hey there.
Good morning, everybody. Our reading this morning is from a book. I think maybe everyone's had some idea or heard about it. It's called Chop Wood, Carry Water. It's an old Buddhist Zen saying, and a famous coach from Missouri wrote a book all about it, about teamwork and winning, and it's become very famous. So today, it talks about, according to an old Jewish folklore, one day a child, Honi, saw an old man digging a hole in the earth. Honi asked the man, "Must you do heavy work at your age? Have you no sons to help you?" The man kept digging. "The work I must do myself," Honi asked. "How old are you?" "I am 70 years and 7, answered the man. "And what are you planting?" "I am planting a breadfruit tree," was the answer. "And the fruit of this tree can be made into bread." "And when will your tree bear fruit?" asked Honi. "In 17 years and 7. "But you surely will not live that long," said Honi. "Yes," said the old man, "I will not live that long, but I must plant this tree. When I came into this world, there were trees here for me, and it is my duty to make sure that when I leave, there will be trees here also." The first step toward rediscovering the spiritual fountainhead is simple. Go out and observe the natural world. We need simply to look very closely. In this way, the earth teaches us its eternal message quietly, in a way unlike the textbook learning about nature. As Robert Hunter says in O Seasons, O Castles, in nature, there is no such thing as a clash of colors. The more carefully you look, the deeper the subtleties of harmony. It is not so much that things flow into each other or around each other like perfect jigsaw pieces. Rather is that there is only one thing out there, and somehow it is not really out there. Somehow it is in here too, inside, at the furthest wavelength of thought. The sea and the wind and the trees and the sand are me. It is a thought that blinks into the mind like a giant laughing eye and then is gone for a long, long time. Isn't that beautiful?
Well, our theme this month is nature, and I better get the track. I forgot. Let me get it. Here we go. No long. So we have this beautiful song for you this morning by J.D. Martin and Jan Garrett. I dreamed of rain and the rains came, soft and easy, sweet and clear. I dreamed of rain and the rains came, and peace spread over the land. I dreamed of rain and the rains came, soft and easy, sweet and clear. I dreamed of rain and the rains came, and peace spread over the land. I dreamed of summer and the winds changed, and the green was easy and the rivers ran clear. I dreamed of summer and the winds changed, peace spread over the land. Flowers bloom in the desert, and the air is fresh and clear. dreamed of rain, and the rains came, and peace spread over the land. I dreamed of freedom, and the moon rose, and the way was easy, and the path was clear. I dreamed of freedom, and the moon rose, and peace spread over the land. I dreamed of freedom, and the moon rose, and the way was easy, and the path was clear. I dreamed of freedom, and the moon rose, and peace spread over the land. And guardian stars are shining, and the night is bright and clear. I dreamed of freedom, and the moon rose, and peace spread over the land. I dreamed of heaven, and the earth sang, the sound was into the land. I dreamed of heaven, and the earth sang, and the sound was easy, and the song was clear. I dreamed of heaven, and the earth sang, and peace spread over the land. I dreamed of heaven, and the earth sang, and the sound was easy, and the song was clear. I dreamed of heaven, and the earth sang, and peace spread over the land. And the flowers bloom in the desert, and the air is fresh and clear. I dreamed of rain, and the rains came, and peace spread over the land. Isn't that a pretty song?
So yeah,
Thank you,
found
Connie.
The nature songs. Yeah, I knew you could do it. Awesome. Well, oh boy. So we're talking about the wonders of nature this month. Yes. And today's talk is Earth Force Report to Duty. Okay. Guess who the Earth Force is? Yes, okay. All right, so in the science of mind, we teach that your thoughts and feelings create your actions, and your actions, therefore, create results. So the life that you're living, the experiences that you're having, originate with your thinking and your feeling. And those thoughts and feelings, when they are solidified, they become opinions, beliefs, and all that stuff that you just repeat over and over and over and over. And then you pass on to your children, and you pass on to your friends and relatives and all the people around you, and they all reinforce that. I don't want to hit myself here or knock that down. And they reinforce your beliefs, and they come to you with their beliefs, and you go to them with their beliefs, and it all gets mixed up together. But then we also, as humanity, have some fundamental beliefs that we have created together. And there was an author that I got a chance to see several years ago. Her name was Elizabeth Sahtouris, and she wrote a book, let me see, called Earth Dance. And in it, in the chapter 1 at the beginning, she writes, everyone knows that humanity is in crisis, politically, economically, spiritually, ecological, any way you look at it. Many see humanity as close to suicide by the way of our technology, and many others see humans as deserving God's nature's wrath in retribution for our sins. However we see it, we are deeply afraid that we may not survive much longer. Yet our urge for survival is the strongest urge we have, and we do not cease our search for solutions in the midst of crisis. That's pretty current, don't you think? Guess when the book was written? It was published 2000. In 2000, before 9/11, in 2000, before iPhone, which was in 2007, before the war in Afghanistan, before the war in Iraq, before the Great Recession of 2008. This was after the Cold War and the fall of Berlin Wall. And so she's suggesting that we see ourselves as a new experimental species with developmental stages that parallel the stages of our individual development. And guess what stage she thinks we're in? Adolescence. Okay, do you remember adolescence? The turmoil of adolescence? You know, I remember when I was graduating from high school, it was like, on the one hand, it was like, yes, let me out of here. I want to be an adult. I want to, I want to get out in the world. I want to be all that I could possibly be. And the other was like, oh, no, I do not want to get, do we have to do this? Was June coming that fast? And there's just this pulling back. There's, on the one hand, there's a moving forward, and at the same time, there's a pulling back, isn't there? And that whole thing in adolescence of the glory and the beauty and the expectation of life laying before you, all these wonderful years, and at the same time, there's also the fear leaving the safety of home and your parents and the people around you. And at the same time, your brain is not fully developed, right? I mean, your brain is still 16, 17, you're still, even 18, 19, 20, your brain is still in the developmental stages. So if humanity is in that stage, then we're in that stage where our brains are still developing. We're still learning how to use these brains. And so she says, from this perspective, humanity is in adolescent crisis and therefore stands on the brink of maturity in a position to achieve true humanity in the full meaning of the word. Just think about that. She goes on to say and to explain that we have missed the biological clues of our maturation because we have not understood ourselves as living beings within a larger being. And she's a biologist. So guess what? She's talking about nature. So we see ourselves as separate from nature. We don't, we have not seen ourselves as a part of nature. And we've gotten that because it's a belief system. It's pure and simple. Years and years and years ago, over 500 years ago, maybe, all those Greeks sat down and philosophized, and some of them said, oh yeah, this is a mechanical universe, and we can look at stuff, we can look out there, and we can see this and this, and we can delve into the oceans, and we've done all this stuff scientifically, looking at the physical world. At the other hand, there's all these philosophers and mystics and poets who have looked and learned from what? The inner, right? But who has run the war? If you think of it, the conflict, okay? Those who are on the outside, the technological people, it's why? Because it's so much easier. The other requires us to sit in quiet and meditate, to be open and available, to know that there's something greater and that we are a part of it. And so the mystics are busy telling us stuff, and the scientists are telling us other stuff, and we living in the 21st century have we have gotten the benefit. That's what I want to say. We have gotten the benefit of both of these, because now we have quantum physics that says, you know what? Yes, there is the physical, but there's also the spiritual on the other side. There is that which we do not fully and completely understand. I can't tell you how when we started to understand quantum physics, and we had scientists come to our ministerial schools and teach us and show us how Ernest Holmes and Joel Goldsmith and the Fillmores and what's her name? Emma Curtis Hopkins and all those guys, Emerson, okay, that they actually did understand, something that now we're just beginning to understand, from a scientific perspective. But Einstein, is an interesting character, because Einstein, he studied the physical world, but he also was a mystic, because Einstein used to go and sit in the quiet and he let things come to him, right? And yet at the same time, he's looking out the physical world going, yes, look at that, and look at that and that. So I think, everybody calls him a genius and whatever, and they're really, but I think we miss his melding of the mechanical, the physical, and the spiritual. That's just my way of, of looking at it. But, she says, for thousands of years, we've developed most strongly in the last 500 years to see humanity as separate from the rest of nature. We are not separate from nature. We are one with nature. And the thing is that our separation from nature, our belief systems, keep in mind, this is belief systems, right? So what has to change? Just this week, the Congress is in the process of, getting these new laws about climate change, right? And they're working on a physical level. Once again, the physical, okay? That's all well and good. But what is going to make the change in terms of how climate change gets rolled out in consciousness? We have to somehow deal with the consciousness that we're dealing with, or no change will take place. And when we're talking about consciousness, we're talking about belief systems, right? We have to start believing something different. And what do we have to start believing? We have to begin believing that we are part of nature, that we are not separate, that it is all one, that we're all together in this thing together. How many of you have a Visa card? Got Visa? Okay, so there's this guy actually started Visa, He was the founder of Visa back in the late 60s or 70s or whatever. And before that, you couldn't buy credit on a card. You couldn't use a card to get credit. You had to go, and remember, if you're old enough to remember, some of you who are not, just listen to me. When you couldn't pay for everything at once, you put it on layaway and you paid a little at a time. So when you got, when you paid for the whole thing, you took it home, it was all yours. It's the same as buying cash. I remember the first really pretty ring I had, I bought it at this, I think it was called a White Barn or something like that store. And I bought this really pretty ring, and I put it on layaway. It took me over a year to buy that ring. Okay. So here's the thing. He wrote a book in 1999. Okay, remember now, he's a year before Sartorius. And he says, the name of the book is The Birth of the Chaotic Age. And he says, we are experiencing a global epidemic of institutional failure that knows no bounds. He says, question concepts, beliefs underlying our organizations. Are they suitable to manage accelerating societal and environmental problems? The organizations that we have, are they capable? Or what changes do we need to make? So he says we must seriously consider if these concepts are the primary cause of our problems. What is that? That's science of mind. The concepts, what are concepts? The concepts are thoughts. They're beliefs. They're things that we have held together and we have kept believing and believing and believing and believing and believing. And so now, if we're going to make any changes at all, it starts with belief. If it starts with us individually, with our beliefs and our thoughts and our feelings, okay, then guess what? Our collective beliefs are also impacting our lives. I don't think in Science of Mind, we think so much about how life is impacting us personally. I don't think we always consider that we are also contributing to the consciousness of the whole, and that we are sometimes going along with the beliefs that everybody else has. How many of us have been told, don't rock the boat? You work at a company and you come up with some new idea. Whistleblowers say, don't rock the boat, don't rock the boat. What is that? Do not make any changes that upset everybody else and the concepts and the beliefs that we have been operating under. But D. Hawk and Elizabeth Sartorius, through the biology and his through the visa mentality of business, I guess you could call it, they're both saying changes need to come from our belief system and not just that stuff out in the world. And if we don't make those changes, that we are on a suicidal path. And here we are, 25, almost, this was 2000, this is 2022. 22 years later, almost 25 years later, and what she's saying is still true. What he's saying is still true. We've made some progress, but with technology, what we have done is we've given ourselves a false impression that changes are happening that really are not happening. How do you know this? How many of you, your doctors have prescribed vitamin D? Okay, why have they prescribed vitamin D? Because you're not getting enough of it. Why are you not getting enough vitamin D? Because you're not outside enough. They prescribed it for me too, so I'm not pointing any fingers here, okay? But the best way to get vitamin D, the healthiest way to get it, is being in the sun. But do you remember? I don't remember, maybe it was the late 90s or something, they were saying, oh, stay out of the sun, stay out of the sun. You could get skin, whatever, cancers and all this kind of stuff, stay out of the sun. And so people stopped staying out of the sun. And then the doctors started prescribing what? Vitamin D. Why? Because we're staying out of the sun. But now the temperatures are so hot, you can't go walking in the middle of the day out here in the sun now. You absolutely cannot. You have to go early in the morning or late in the evening. And the evening is what? When it's shady, the sun's gone down. Okay, so you get the exercise, but you're not getting the benefit of the sun. All right? If you want the benefit of the sun, you have to walk early in the morning before it gets too what? Warm. Or you have to wait until fall. You can't do it in the summer. And, and the thing is there are places in this, I wrote about it in the newsletter. It's like there are places around the world that morning or night, you are not going outside because it's way over 100. Okay, so what is going on here? We are seeing ourselves, nature is going like, you guys are part of me, whether you like it or not. it's just like, what are we doing to ourselves? It's like that adolescent rebellion is, I'm going to do this the way I want to. I don't care what you want, with the parents, and parents are like, well, you know what? You follow my rules or get out of my house. Okay? There's no place to go on earth, There's just no place else to go. But the whole thing can feel overwhelming. It really, really can. So, Marcia, did you get my thing? Okay. So, anyway, there's this organization that started, I think it's in San Diego, and it's called Nature Unplugged. You can look it up. All right. Anyway, they're saying like what's happening is we have, since because they started in 2012. Okay. So they know about the technology, how much time we're spending. But by the way, that's later. Okay. So they're saying that we overuse technology, and that we're using our phones all the time, that we are spending more time indoors than we do outdoors, which is evident by our vitamin D deficiencies. So the impact of screen time, they say, is linked to developmental and mental delays, so that we're not thinking as fast and as capable as we can be. We have attention problems. Hello, children with attention deficit. Think about this. People who were not attention deficit when they were 10, 15, 20 years old, now at 40 and 50 are attention deficit. Okay? That's one of the things they're saying here, is because of all the screen time. Okay? It says we can increase our depressive symptoms and become more prone to stress and anxiety. How many of us are on pills or drinking at the end of the day to relax and get out of, this anxious place? And how many people, just look at the ads for depression on the TV, okay? They never say, put your phone down. They never, ever say, put your phone down. Get away from the computer. Go take a walk in nature. They just say, oh, by the way, we have this pill, right? As though that's going to solve everything. And it says the impact of screen time is you can cause eye strain and fatigue, leading to irritation, trouble focusing, and headaches. Also, it leads to a sedentary lifestyle and increases the risk of obesity, hypertension, and compromised heart health. Now, heart health, remember, is the vitamin D. That's really important for your heart. But here's the other thing that they don't have. Well, they say sedentary, but I want to change it because we've talked about this before. Isolation. When I'm busy looking at my phone, who am I interacting with? I'm not interacting with you at all. I'm interacting with whatever I am looking at on my phone. And I'm isolating myself because I'm separating myself from you out there or you in here. We're not together. And I'm having a relationship with somebody on the phone who may be in a whole nother country. And we think that's connecting. Well, okay, you connected with somebody in another continent, but you're not connecting with the people right in front of you. Think about that. And finally, they say it contributes to poor posture, causing neck pain, back, hip, knee, and wrist pain. Think about how you sit over the computer. Okay. Now, instead of saying, teaching people to sit up straight and not to spend so much time at the computer, where they tell you, oh, we have this new ergonomic chair. And now the latest one has heat and massage and everything, so you just buy this $600 chair and then you don't have to worry about your posture, right? Okay. So do you see what's happening here? Is we're getting the technology, but we're not getting the nature part. Okay, they're not sending us back to who we are. They're sending us to the store to buy something on our Visa card, which is credit. And what happens with the credit is you have all this credit, and now you have this debt, and it's this cycle, right? And what are you getting from it? Excuse me. So yeah, stress. That's it. Okay. So anyway, then they say they've got it's a really cute little image actually, because they've done this like this. Okay, so I separated it out so that I could tell you what it was. And so the impact of going to green time. Okay, it's easy. It's not something that we can't all do. First of all, the impact of green time is it increases cognitive functioning, focus, and creative problem solving. So what does it mean? You're thinking clearer. And you can get through the problem. We teach in Science of Mind, you who have the problem have the answer, right? But if you're not thinking clearly, you go like, I'm not getting this. And you start looking out there for your answers. And that's why they sell you those chairs. That's why they give you those pills, because you're looking out there. And of course, out there has an answer for you, right? They say that green time boosts mood and positive emotion. It reduces stress, get this, anger and aggression. So what happens when we're fearful? Okay, stop and think about when people get fearful. They do what? They avoid, they withdraw, they pull into themselves, they isolate, okay? They don't tell their friends and relatives what's going on, all right? They don't seek help. And if you notice that they need help, they'll say, no, I don't need any help. When in actuality, they do need help. Okay, so there's that isolation in that movie. But some people get angry and aggressive. That's another thing. That's another response to fear, okay? So then the impact of green time is it promotes healthy eye development and reduces the likelihood of nearsightedness. It reduces the risk of obesity, diabetes, and hypertension. It promotes good heart health, physical activity, and strength. And of course, is the best source of vitamin D. It improves blood circulation, flexibility, agility, stability, and posture, because you have to stand up straight to walk. So they have a program, and I gave Marcia some of the things so that if you want to, you can write them down. Okay, so this is what you do if you want to start getting unplugged and getting back to nature. They have five things. One is reframe. Reframe. First things first. First, we need to explore and examine the challenges that we're dealing with in the digital age. Okay, just look at what is it that you're doing. You know, how many hours are you spending on the computer? How many hours are you looking at your phone? You know, Shonda Rhimes, the creator of, what's the name of that show? I don't watch it anymore. The one that's been on forever, the doctor show. Anyway, Grey's Anatomy. Okay, yes, she started Grey's Anatomy, and she's done a bunch of others since then, right? And she's got movies and everything. So I saw an interview with her one time. You know what? She turns her phone off at 7:00 in the evening. Now that woman has got to be the busiest woman in the world amongst them, right? She's very creative too, okay? She turns her phone off in the evening, and the person who interviewed her said, how can you're so busy. You've got all these people calling on you and wanting things from you. You've got directors and producers and actors and just on and on. How is it that you turn off your phone at 7 p.m? She said, I am at work, I think she said 6 or 7 in the morning. She said, if they cannot reach me between 6 in the morning and 7 in the evening, whatever they want to talk to me about can wait. And guess what? She gets to relax. She gets to go home and eat a decent meal without the stress and the anxiety of, is the phone going to ring again? How many of us, when the phone rings, we feel compelled to answer it? We feel responsible to respond to whoever it is that's called. I'm guilty too. I call Ronnie at 8:00 in the morning. I'm up too. So the thing is that try it. Try turning your phone off at 7 and watch and see how many messages you have them. I was trying to reach you and I couldn't reach you. And there was this something important, and you asked them what was important. It wasn't. It wasn't anything that couldn't wait till the next day. Now, there are legitimate things when some people have died, and you want to know right away. But you know what? If somebody has died and they're important to you, you will find out. They will find a way to let you know. They'll call your neighbor, they'll call somebody else, they'll call the police and tell them to go to your house, okay? There's a way for you to, how do I know this? Because we didn't have cell phones before the 90s. You watch some of those, you guys watch Downton Abbey? It is so great. I love watching Downton Abbey and those kind of things. You know why? Because you're sitting here going like, how on earth did you manage? Okay, how did you manage without having a cell phone? You know, or a TV or anything. You had to, how many people, they played chess. Can you imagine chess? I never learned to play chess. But we played checkers. But the thing is that what did we do before? We were self-entertaining, and self-soothing. That's basically what it is. And stop and think about when you go to the grocery store or you have to stand in line at the bank. What are you doing? You're on your phone. I remember years ago when this phone stuff was just kind of getting started, and we were flying back and forth, and we went to this conference, my daughter and I. We went to conference, and we're standing in line waiting for the car, the rental car place. And there was this woman, and young woman, and she's standing there on her phone. And I'm like, what? Because I had a phone, but it was in my pocket, okay, in those days. And I'm looking at her, and she's looking at Facebook. She is looking at Facebook. And I was like, it just busy. Just can't, there's no connection with anybody else. She's busy interacting with people she may not even know. I remember when Facebook kind of first started, my granddaughter was in elementary, not elementary, maybe junior high or high school, something like that. Anyway, she was like, she told her mother, I have 300 friends. And Stacey's like, what are you talking about? And when she found out it was like Facebook, it's like, you don't know those people. But Joy was like, she felt like it because they're called friends. And so it makes you feel like you've got all these people. But now what's happening? We have these whole communities of people who sometimes are friendly and sometimes are bullies. And yet at the same time, people have, especially young people, have gotten to the point where, it's almost addictive. So anyway, the first thing they said is to just notice how you're dealing with technology and start thinking about your phones and your technology differently. So that's reframe. Okay. The second is reset. Okay, and they said that here it's about becoming more intentional with our tech and bringing more nature into our lives. And they introduce you to a 4-step reset process, which helps you to redefine your relationship with tech and nature, using boundaries to minimize your daily digital distractions. So I think that's kind of like where Shonda Rhimes things comes in. It's like, I'm not going to use my phone when I'm sitting down at a meal. How many times we've gone into restaurants and we've seen people, 4, 5, 6 of them, and they're all sitting at the table, family members, obviously, but they're all sitting on the phone. They're not interacting with one another. They're on their phone, and they're interrupted by the waitress who wants to know their order. They haven't figured out their order because they're busy doing something on their phone. Okay, we've seen it, right? It's not something. So they're saying you have to decide to turn off your phone. To have hours when you're working on your email or whatever. And email doesn't have to be done just before you go to bed. And I know I have an acupuncturist. She said you shouldn't even have your phone in the bedroom with you because of the whatever stuff it emits. Okay. I think that's going to be hard though. However, Alexa will wake you up in the morning. She wakes me up. I just like, Alexa, stop. Okay, so, and Alexa is clear across the room. So actually, I could put the phone in a different place. Okay, so now reading this, I think I just might, because it's just habit. It's just habit. That's all it is. It's just habit. And I did not have that habit in 2000. It's a habit that came about after 2007 when I got an iPhone. Okay? Next is reconnect. And she said, they say that this is the biggest challenge of tech overuse, an increasingly sedentary lifestyle and isolation. Modern technology offers comfort, convenience, and the ability to be connected 24/7. Yet, as a society, we're sitting more, moving less, and we are more isolated and alone than any other time in our history. As a result, we're suffering physically and mentally. Think about that. That's why we're seeing more depression stuff on there. That's why we got kids with ADD and all this kind of stuff going on. That's why, chiropractors, there was hardly a chiropractor around in the 90s, and now they're sprung up all over the place. Massage therapy places are all over the place. Why? Because we're using massage and chiropractors to substitute walking outside. And I'm guilty. This is not about pointing fingers. I have a hard time getting out there walking too. Okay? And it's not necessarily about walking. It's also about movement, and so that's why they have yoga studios popping up all over the place too. So there are some good things going on. It's not like it's all bad stuff. There are good things going on. Most of your gyms that used to have just machines and stuff have yoga classes now, or now they have this place called Stretch Zone. You seen that? They help you stretch your body. I went because they gave you a free one. I didn't like it. So I didn't go back. But, but there are healthy things that we can do for ourselves now. The other part of reconnecting is being in community. Be in a community like this. When we finish with service, hopefully those of you out there, when you finish, I know you're home alone, but hopefully you'll connect with somebody after church is over. We here, and this is the value of showing up in person, is that you get to hug people, you shake hands if you're more comfortable with that. You get to see people, you get to smile at people, you get to interact, and you don't have to walk away feeling so isolated. And you know what? The thing is that that's how we share love with one another. And we walk away feeling uplifted and feeling better. Okay? And it carries us, throughout the week. And keep in mind, years ago, everybody went to church. And where did you go? You went to church for community. You went to church. So many people are like, I'm going to church, find somebody to marry. Okay, I heard people do that. And people have gone to church and found relationships. I know people who have done that. The next one is Rewire. And it says, it may be helpful to think of earlier parts of the tangible fixes that have set us on the right path and get us out of our own way. So we call them technical solutions. Okay, so reset and reconnect are like the tip of the iceberg. They're on the surface thing, okay? But rewire is underneath, and this is what we understand. Rewire is about diving beneath the surface and doing the deeper and more adaptive work. This is all about building and strengthening your inner force field against the attention economy. So it's about learning how to think differently, to pull back from old patterns and start thinking differently about your life and nature and how you're connected to all of it. Okay. They say that rewiring is how we think, approach challenges, deal with disappointment, celebrate successes, and cultivate curiosity. Children are curious, and we go around stopping their curiosity all too often by telling, don't worry about that, or, oh, well, I can show you how to do this. Let them figure it out for themselves. And when was the last time you looked at something with totally and completely new eyes? Think about that. I have trees at the next to I live in a condo, and on the one side of it, I'm on the back end of the subdivision, and there's trees there. And there's those pine trees. God, those trees are so dang tall. They're like 20, 30, 40 feet or so. Anyway, they are really high. And I was walking the dog one day, and I just happened to look up, and there's a bird's nest up there. And it was like I looked with the new eyes, because I had not seen, and every once in a while I go out there to see, and then of course with the rain and everything, it's been up there for at least 2 years. And all the rain and all the wind, and sometimes those trees are like almost half bent over. That bird's nest is still there. And it's like, that is amazing. And it's like that whole thing in my brain is like, you birds are magnificent. Oh my God, you are something else. I don't know what kind of birds they are. I don't even know if the nest is still being used, because I can't get up there to find out. Okay. And it sure hasn't been knocked down. But you know what? There are new things happening like that. Happening all over. And we miss them if we're not out in nature, if we don't spend time outside. And the last one is recharge. And they say this method is not just about getting a baseline. It's about getting in touch with what we want and stepping into our potential. Get ready to explore and be adventurous, try new things, and engage in life and the world around us in a completely new way. Recharging our batteries through the power of play and by bringing more creativity into our lives. As I was thinking about this, I was thinking about several years ago, I don't know, it just kind of came out of the blue. I guess I just had some extra time, so I just started making necklaces and buying beads and whatever. I have a ton of beads. I don't have time to do it anymore. And yet it's very creative, activity. And so, it's something I just need to pull out some beads and, spend some time. But guess what? Why? You know why? Because it's over an hour activity. It's an activity that's going to take maybe 4, 5, 6 hours. I might get up and have something to eat, walk the dog, do something else. But then, it's like, when do I write the newsletter? When do I do this? When do I do that? When do I do the other? And so that creativity then kind of gets tossed along the wayside, right? And yet, during the pandemic, we all had extra time, home alone. What did we do? I'm willing to bet most of us didn't do much more than what we ordinarily do, except we didn't go outside to do it. Right? I'm sure there's more subscriptions were bought to Stars and whatever, HBO Max and whatever. You know how you can tell? Because they cost less now. Seriously. Wasn't like HBO was like $15 a month, and now you can get it for less than 5 or 6. They have these specials because more and more people are using them. They got us hooked on all this stuff. What does that mean? Means we're inside using technology. We're not outside. Tell me, how many commercials have you seen that says, Get off that couch, stop watching this TV, go walk around your building and come back and sit down and watch the rest of this show. Okay, we could do that. Okay, we could do that. Right? All right, so this week, because we're talking about nature, I saw a show on PBS. Nature is so magnificent. There was a place in, I think it's South America somewhere. I'm not sure if it was Brazil, but anyway, somewhere where they used to have rainforest and it was near the ocean. And they had done all this clearing, got rid of all these trees and everything. The land was basically barren. It was just dirt, basically, because they had just stripped it of all whatever was there before. And somebody decided that they wanted to regenerate the land. They wanted to see, was it possible? And so what they did was they got all these seeds and they, it's a long story, but they got seeds and plants and stuff, and they just spread it out through the whole thing. In 10 years, the whole jungle came back. And they didn't, and different stuff came back. Then more original stuff came back than just what they had planted, in the seeds. And guess what else happened? They never, ever put any animals, insects, birds, or anything. They just did the planting. The birds came back. The animals came back. The iguanas came back. The insects came back. And probably the mosquitoes too, but but nature regenerated itself. You stop and think about how I'm sitting there watching it, that was the amazement, it's like, that was curious. That's my curiosity. How can you do something like that? But somebody had the curiosity to start this. It took 10 years. 10 years for all of nature, for this barren land to become vibrant and green and have animals and birds come back without being asked. They just knew that it was there. I just think about that. If nature can do that and we're a part of nature, then we can rejuvenate ourselves in the same way. If it took nature 10 years, it might take us 10 years too. But we have higher consciousness, so we can use Think and Grow Rich and stuff like that, and we can do this even faster. It doesn't have to take 10 years, but it does take us doing things like this in order to start making changes in our life that allow us to live the life that we're meant to live. And we know that Spirit is our guide in doing it, that we're not here by ourselves, that we are empowered. We are empowered, the wisdom, the intelligence, the creativity. We are empowered with everything we have need of. But we have to have the will. We have to have the desire. That's our responsibility. If we have the desire and the will, the spirit, the subconscious will work together with us to bring forth those things. I haven't watched that nature program, God knows when. But all of a sudden, we're talking about nature, and what happens is a show on TV that fits in with today's talk. Do you see? That's how it works. That's how it works. Let's turn within. And so we know that God created the trees, the animals, and all of the earth. We know it is an outpicturing of the divinity, the idea in the mind of God. And we know that as God has created all of the flowers, the trees, the animals, the planet for us to live on, that God has also created who and what we are. And because we are one with God, we get to take advantage of all the beauty, all the wonder, all the magnificence of nature. And yet we are responsible for remembering that we are not separate, but we are one with nature. And it is our responsibility to care for it as it cares for us. And so we rejoice this day that we have this knowledge, this awareness, and we have the capacity to do what is needed and necessary to begin to make the shift, the changes in our own lives that allow us to be more than we could possibly be, to be healthier than we've ever been, to clear thinking, to have our thinking be clearer, to have our connections to others be more deeply connected, to release and let go of the isolation and all those feelings that have separated us from other people, to allow ourselves to be in community, to help and to be helped, to love and to be loved, to know that we can share, that we can give, that we can be all that we possibly can be by simply turning within and shifting the thoughts in our minds, allowing our beliefs to become new, vibrant, and inclusive of all that is. And so with gratitude, I am knowing that the truth of this word is being expressed in us and through us as individually, in our own wisdom, in our own understanding, in our own creative way. And we rejoice that it is so, and so it is. Amen. Okay.
Hello. Well, we're celebrating nature this month, so I reached back for this song I wrote about 10 years ago called Music of the Earth. I want to thank Stan Henley, that's Sherry's husband, for making this beautiful track of music for me. Listen to the music of the earth. 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 This is your song to stop. And in the pause, turn the chaos down. Focus on this moment here. Let time slow down. Walk among the trees, see them grow. Reach out to the wind, feel it blow. Hear the water flow, feel the earth below. This is your song too. See the earth through fairy eyes. Be reborn with each sunrise. Let ego self slip away and celebrate the gift of today. And listen to the music of the earth. Listen to the music of the earth. Relax and just let go. There's beauty all around. Focus on this moment here. Let time slow down. the sun up in the sky. See the clouds floating by. Taste the ocean blue and let the waves sing to you. This is your song too. With the fairy eyes, really born with each sunrise, and with the innocence of child. Let your soul run free and wild, and listen to the music of the earth. 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 If we just stop and listen to all the beauty around us, it'll sing to you. Just listen to the music of the earth. 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 This is your song too.
Awesome. Thank you, Cynthia. Love that song. Yes, yes, yes. Yes, and the earth really does make music if you listen.
It really does.
Yeah, it really does. That's what I miss about California, the ocean. The ocean, I look at that and I was like, that looks like a Silmar. I don't know what it is, but it looks like a Silmar. I really miss that piece, yes. Okay, so it is time for our conscious giving. It's the same from last month to this month. Okay. Freely I give with a feeling of abundance, knowing that my gift blesses others and myself as well.
I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful for all that I am. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I'm so grateful. I am so blessed.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. And our affirmation, I am grateful for the divine givingness circulating abundantly through my life, our community, and our world. Okay, so the Science of Mind magazine is here. Isn't that a pretty cover? Nature, environmental stewardship, meditative photography, and reflections on inclusion. That's this month's magazine. And inside there is they have another new book of Ernest Holmes. It's called The Heart of Ernest Holmes, Conversations with Ernest Holmes. And apparently they have a bunch of pictures in there. So a new book for us to buy. And it's in color. Okay, anyway. So they're talking about the love of nature and being an environmental steward. I think it was Al Gore I heard say, you know what regenerates the earth faster than anything and cleans the air? Trees. That we need to plant as many trees as we possibly can. I don't know if you've ever been to Alaska, but I had to go up there for a wedding, and I did not know this the first time I went up there. There is a rainforest in Alaska. It is solid green. The trees just, it's sort of like, it's almost like, flying in over Atlanta, there's places where it's just solid green. That you could not see the ground because it was up for miles and miles and miles and miles. And it's just magnificent. And apparently they haven't got the loggers up there yet. So anyway, trees. So plant a tree if you don't have any, plant a tree. So people have been asking me about politics and spirituality and whatever. And there's an organization called the Association for Global New Thought. It started in the mid-90s, I guess. Reverend Michael Beckwith, Reverend Mary Morrissey, who else was some other unity ministers, a bunch of them got together, Howard Caesar, about 10 of them, I guess, got together from the Unity, at the time, United and RSI, Religious Science International, were the two organizations. They all got together and said, we want an organization for our new thought, because we used to have the International New Thought Alliance, and it was, a lot of older people that didn't have the vibrancy that the younger people wanted, and it wasn't going the direction that people wanted to go. So they came up with the Association for Global New Thought, and the first project they did, service project, was the Season for Nonviolence. So how many of you know about Season for Nonviolence, and you heard about it or you participated or whatever? Anyway, we didn't do it this year, but probably next year, we will. It's between it started the 30th year of the assassination of Gandhi, which was in January 30th, and the assassination of Martin Luther King Jr., which was April 4th. And that season, between those two dates, they called the Season for Nonviolence. It's 64 days, and they had projects that you did every day, affirmations that you read and stuff like that. Anyway, that was the organization that started that. They also have met with the Dalai Lama multiple times, and they've done a lot of different things. Anyway, the organization had to have a leader. And so they found Barbara Fields, and she has been the executive director from the very beginning. And so now you can go on the Association for Global New Thought. All of us can become members if you want to. It's real inexpensive, like $50 a year, something like that. Anyway, she wrote this article called Religion, Women, and Politics. And I had Ronnie make copies, and they're over there on the counter if you want to. But it's about multi-faith network of religious women in the country. And she talks about, the issues that we're dealing with today, with abortion issues and politics and whatever, and all that, how that all can come together, and how women, and also how the Christian nationalism has influenced a lot of stuff, and she gives a lot of history and stuff like that. So I printed it out because I think, and she's got, links to different organizations and whatever that you can do more. Because one of the things I think is important for us to do is to think, to not just be getting one source of information. And we, in our new thought, we sometimes don't know how to integrate what's going out in the world with our own spirituality. And we're at a time in history where we need to be using our consciousness in service for good. And it's real hard to do that if you don't know, what's going on. Now, I'm not saying you have to be paying attention to every little nook and cranny and what's on TV and the politics of it all. I'm not saying that. But at the same time, we want to, have an awareness of what's going on, so that when we pray, we can pray appropriately, and not just, I want everybody to love everybody. That's true. But how does love show up? Okay, that's Ricky's song. It's like, it's about sharing. Mm-hmm. It's about love. Loving shows up as compassion, as caring, as inclusiveness, and all kinds of stuff. So how do we do that? And so I made this, and they're on the counter. Pick it up if you want to. But it's things like this, and that we're going to be adding to our newsletter. So that there's a wide audience for those of you out there. I think it's in the newsletter, isn't it? Did we put a link? We're good. Marsha just uploaded it for you, a link for you to get it offline. Those of you online there. Okay, that is next Sunday is our board meeting, so please plan to participate if you would like to. We would love to have you do that. We are in the process of creating some what are those things? Fundraising activities. Yeah, and so we have a wonderful family multi. Actually, I don't have to think about it. It's in the flyer. It's right here. There you go. Okay. The family yard sale on September 10th. And guess what? On September 11th is the CSL World Prayer Day. September 11th. Okay. You know that day? It's the CSL World Prayer Day. So we'll be talking about that in the future. But anyway, those of you who are local, start gathering up your things. Do not bring them here. We do not have room for them. We have enough space that we're storing stuff of our own, but bring them on September 9th, and we'll have space. We'll move the chairs over, put stuff up, and then prepare. And you're welcome to, if you're local, you're welcome to be all hands on deck and show up that day and help us out with what needs to be done. Okay, we'll be talking more about it in the future. All right, are you ready? Any more? And did I miss anything? I forgot to tell you the big news. Our sign is up. Woo! Yes, woo! So we'll put pictures in the newsletter next week so that you can see, because we just got it done. There it is. All right. There, see? Yes, and so they took down, I guess that other sign was not ours, and they took it down, huh? It was old sign. I know you took it down. Yeah, but is it old, right? It didn't belong up there. Right, it didn't belong there. So that, and guess what? You can see it. Yes, you can see it, because I came in this morning and I looked up there, and yay, woohoo, okay. All right, that's good. All right, and the guy who owns the building, he won't be unhappy either. He was here, he saw it, he liked it. Yeah. His. Uh-huh. Oh, yeah. He's gonna have to find his own person to take it down. Yeah. Okay, yeah. I know it did. It is gorgeous, yes, and it has to be put up well because we get storms around here. Yeah, we get storms up there. Yeah. So that is so nice. Yes. Okay, now, so our next big project is our website. So we're working on that. Yeah, okay. So y'all come, all right? All right, let's go next.
Ready?
Yes,
all
I'm
right.
ready. Oh, no. Need one more thing. Our affirmation. We go forth today knowing that we are God's blessing in the world. Only good goes from us, and only good comes to us, and so it is.
All right, we'll close with the peace song. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. I can't hear you. Let there be peace on earth, the peace that was meant to be, with spirit as our creator, united all are we. Let us walk with each other in perfect harmony. Let peace begin my solemn vow to take each moment and live each moment peace eternal.